Welcome to the Do You Believe edition of the Basketball Illuminati here on the Count the Dings Network. I'm Zach Harper. That's Mo Dakhil. That is Anthony Mayes filling in for one proud American, Wosny Lambre. Go ahead and check out the other episodes of Basketball Illuminati. If you're not checking out the main episode, it's kind of weird. What are you doing?
And watch us on YouTube. This is a YouTube show.
Watch us on YouTube, you dorks.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
I got ready. I got my face all ready, everything, and for the YouTube. So come watch.
Yeah, Mo got ready. Well, also check out Mo's Twitch stream. Check out Mo's Twitch stream. Twitch.tv/Mo Dakhil.
Yes, well
it's
done.
The .tv that throws me off.
It throws me off, and I've been doing it for 3 years.
Yeah. And check out The Bounce, the free newsletter from The Athletic, theathletic.com/The Bounce, every morning in your inbox. Before we get into our 3 items of wondering if we believe today, gentlemen, LeBron Stephen A. It's weird. I've actually been quite frustrated with it because I feel like I don't even really have a problem with what LeBron's doing in this case because he feels like a journalist went after his family, parenting, whatever, went above and beyond the basketball aspect of it. So like, whatever, like, and that's part of journalism. You say something, you're going to get confronted, or you should be able to get confronted or whatever. Right. I have a problem with him taking that swipe at Brian Windhorst on McAfee. That's the thing I took issue with. I'm like, yeah, what are you doing? Windhorst doesn't do that stuff. Like I think that was corny. I think that was BS. And do we know if any of his teammates stuck up for him, or are we afraid of LeBron if we work at ESPN? I don't know if that happened, but that's a topic for another day. I find it weird, like the Stephen A aspect of it all. I understand, like, he's not a journalist anymore. He's a media personality.
Mm-hmm.
What are we doing?
Like, well, he won. He wins out of all this.
Sure. Yeah, because he keeps getting the attention.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So all LeBron has done is successfully given him topics to hit yesterday on his own podcast, today on First Take. He's producing the show. It's really genius of LeBron to be producing shows at ESPN for Stephen A. Stephen A's into Stephen A. I mean, has he gone too far? Is that your objection? You think the throwing hands comment has gone too far?
I don't think it's too far. I think it's corny. I think no one, but like, okay, you would have thrown hands and gotten your ass beat. Like, no one cares. He said years ago about like this regret he had and how he got personal with Glenn Robinson Sr. or the second, or I don't know which, the good one in the NBA. No offense to Glenn Robinson the third. And how like at one point he thought he was going to fight him. He's like, I know what I gotten my ass beat. Like, there's that clip online or whatever of him talking about it. Yeah, LeBron's bigger than Big Dog. Like that would be worse. I don't know what's gonna happen. Like what you think would happen. Like, okay, you would have thrown hands, and who cares?
What would that have accomplished? No, it's just this whole thing is just kind of it's almost slightly the death of sports media, at least a little bit, because this is all we get now is just this shit. Like this is all everybody's fighting, and who can we create a beef with, and all of this stuff. And it's not the first time Stephen A has done this, right? The whole thing with Kevin Durant, and you don't want to make an enemy of me, and all of this bullshit that we get with this stuff. Like I just miss the days when the rules in media was don't become the story, right? Or don't be a part of the story in that situation. Like it's just. We've just
trying to be the story. Like people are like bragging about like my question got answers. I'm like, what are you doing? Like people are
because
like,
the guy answered because the guy pointed to you.
There's dudes like at the finals who like just post them asking a question. Like, you asked a question. That's the job, man.
Like, well, pat yourself on the back. You did your job. You got your question answered. Like, woohoo! Like there's just a whole like level of.
This dude will post himself like asking the question, and then we don't see the response to his question. I'm like, what are we doing?
That's the best. That's the best. No, that's great. That's great.
Ooh, that's next level.
Ask the question, and then when you're done recording, you don't need to answer. We're good.
There's a little secret, media members. Your question doesn't mean shit. The answer's the only thing that matters.
I don't want to overlook that excellent Mario woohoo sound effect that Mo did earlier. I really enjoyed that.
Put that on the soundboard. That's gotta go.
But I finally made the soundboard. That's
Yeah.
I'm out.
We could have used that for Out for Justice. Let me tell you, Polino. All right, yeah. Oh my God. So
sad.
he went. So LeBron went from Le GM to Le executive producer. Is that what we're saying?
Mm-hmm.
Wears many hats. Wears many hats.
All right, let's get to the actual topics. Do you believe that Doc Rivers gets enough credit? He got the question from one Mark Spears, actual journalist, Hall of Fame journalist, on Andscape in a Q&A as Doc approaches tying Phil Jackson for the all-time coaching wins. He, I believe, 7th on the all-time coaching wins list. And he asked him, how do you deal with all the criticism you receive from the media and on social media for losing 3-1 series leads 4 times? Here's Doc's answer. It is what it is. It's part of my legacy. There's nothing I can do about it. I got a team that was an 8 seed up 3-1. That is coaching. That is not bad coaching. The one with the Clippers is the only one that got away. But people don't realize that Chris Paul was running on one leg in 2015 with the Clippers. And we were also the underdog in that series. When you think about it, Houston had home court, not us. No one tells a real story, and I'm fine with that. It's unfair in some ways. I don't get enough credit for getting the 3 wins. I get credit for losing. I always say, what if we had lost to Houston in 6? No one cares. One of the things that I'm proud of is we've never been swept. All the coaches have been swept in the playoffs. My teams achieve. A lot of them overachieve. I'm very proud of that. So, Anthony Mayes, we'll start with you.
Oh, really?
Do you believe that Doc Rivers gets enough credit?
Man, I thought for sure we were going to go to Mo here, but sure.
No, we're going to let Mo wait a little bit.
Mo's stewing his anger a little bit longer. Obviously, he doesn't get enough credit. Obviously, we're focusing on the wrong thing here, that he loses 3 games straight to get eliminated from these series, not the fact that he went 3 out of 4 wins.
Yeah.
Why are we so biased? Just like you said in the beginning, why is media dead? Why is media dead? Why is reporting so unfair and wrong that no one wants to tell a real story?
Right.
Okay. And you know what the best part is? It doesn't even bother Doc Rivers. He's fine with it.
He's fine. He's part of the
legacy. He accepts it. All he does is coach. That's coaching. Coaching is getting to 3-1.
Absolutely.
Coaching is also losing 3 in a row. But no one wants to tell the whole story. You know who else doesn't get enough credit? Benito Mussolini. Oh. Salute to my guy Waz, who couldn't make it this time. So I had to fill in and pull that out of my back pocket.
Yeah.
They don't get enough credit. That's my thoughts.
Right. Yeah.
Are you regretting going to Mayes now?
No. Mo, when it comes to Doc Rivers and getting enough credit, do you believe that I will go next? Yes. I'm going to say that I don't think he gets enough credit because we talk about Doc Rivers as a joke. This is a man who is 7th on the all-times with, like, Phil Jackson. Ties Phil Jackson. He came in first year of head coaching, went from TNT to head coaching with a horrible Orlando Magic team. Won 41 games and coach of the year. Wins an NBA title in 2008. Turns the Clippers, the Los Angeles Clippers, under Donald Sterling, into not only a winning basketball franchise, but the darlings of the NBA in one of the most disgusting times an owner has ever had publicly that we've ever seen. I think Doc Rivers not only doesn't get enough credit, I think he's a hero. I think he's an artist. I think he's fantastic. I think he's an underrated coach, an underappreciated coach. And Doc, guess what? I think you do a great job, and I credit you. I commend you. I applaud. Hold on. I applaud you for getting those 3 wins. That's more than other coaches do. Mo, do you believe Doc Rivers gets enough credit?
I believe Doc gives himself enough credit. The amount of bullshit we had to hear about, I've never seen somebody skate on winning one championship as much as Doc Rivers. He won one championship with the Boston Celtics, then talked about we never lost without our team completely, when we were fully healthy. We had the whole thing. Facts. Whole story right there. We're just going to ignore everything else after that and beyond that stuff. And he wants the whole story. The whole story is they lost. The whole story is they go up 3-1 and he can't finish the job. I don't hire a contractor to do 90% of the job. I hire the contractor to do 100% of the job and finish the job. This is absolutely ridiculous. This is where the quote should have ended. It is what it is. It's part of my legacy. There's nothing I can do about it. Stop. After that, it's excuse after excuse after excuse.
We're acting like
excuse. This time around, nope, not done. This time around, he didn't throw Pat Garrity under the bus like he did the last time he complained about this. This is the first time he's made this complaint. There's a whole bunch of stuff with all this stuff. Now, Chris, we all knew Chris was hurt. You still were up 3-1, but it's not even that you were up 3-1. You were up 26 in the game to clinch. And you blew it by Josh Smith. Like, come on, man. James Harden had a towel of his. James Harden had the towel on his head and completely was out of that game, and he blew it. So
Doc Rivers on the court in that game?
I'm just tired. Yeah, he was. You know when he was? When he was complaining to the refs all the goddamn time. Because that's all he does.
When he's fighting because his players won't
complain.
He's fighting because his players won't.
He even says, I complain too much. Doesn't do anything to try to fix it. Continues to complain. It's just all of that
Luka
stuff.
Doncic complains a lot. We don't seem to have a problem with that. Racism.
Oh, wow. Went there as well. Okay. The whole thing with Doc. Here's the thing. Doc's is a great coach. When I worked with him, I was blown away with the X's and O's. I thought he had really great stuff. All of it. He won a championship, and he did a great job with that Celtics team.
Stop there.
I'm not trying to take any of that stuff. But the whole thing there is you can't just say that's all we want to focus on when part of your legacy is you didn't finish the job. You went up 3-1 and then lost 3 straight. I don't want to hear the excuses after that. You didn't finish the job.
They finished the job. Did they lose because of bad game plans?
Part of it.
How blame pie? How big a slice?
I mean, coaches get 50%.
That's not fair.
Blanket, he gets 50%. He's but one man.
He's but one man.
Get 50%. And then one other thing, Zach. Vinny Del Negro was winning before he got fired.
How many jobs has he gotten since?
Besides the fact, nonetheless, he was winning before they got fired. We had a 56-win season that year, and then we lost because we went up 2-0 in the series and then lost 4 straight. Yeah, we're going to talk about it. That's part of our failures. That's part of Vinny's failures. We're not going to mention the fact that Blake Griffin twisted his ankle in practice. When we probably should have been scrimmaging. Yeah, we should have been scrimmaging. But if we want to tell the whole story, Zach, we got to tell the whole story.
Sounds like if Vinny wanted a job, should have gone up 3-1 and lost.
Clearly, that's I guess the thing there. It's admirable to go up 3-1, and I've won 3 games. Yes,
Mayes,
that's coach. Come
Mayes,
on.
Can you fact check something for me? Is 3 wins in a series more than 2 wins in a series?
Let me do some research. Yes, yes, it is.
Okay,
it is.
Well, all right.
Here's what I like about this, though. First of all, I've never been swept in the playoffs.
Yeah,
interesting stat. Interesting, true stat. He's never been swept. However, they just lost Dame. Deep vein thrombosis has reared its ugly head again.
Well, he might come back, which is weird.
He might. It's not as bad as the Wemby situation.
They're very confident that this is maybe a couple of weeks, which does not seem like medicine to me.
Yeah, and you talked to Jeff Stotts about it, so he would know better than all of us. But let's say Dame is impacted. All right, let's say he's back. And he's impacted.
Right.
And they're going to hang in the 6th seed. They don't go into the play-in. They make the 6th seed.
Mm-hmm.
What if they get swept by the Knicks? Now that Doc has put this out there, that I've never been swept in a playoff series. What if he has now officially cursed himself with this proclamation?
How about this? Maybe he's just trying to join the ranks of the great coaches that have been swept so that he can get some credit.
Then I'll give him credit, Zach. Then I'll give him credit, Zach. He gets swept. Then I'll give him some credit.
All right, you know what, Doc? Your mission is to get swept in the first round. All right, let's move on. Guys, LeBron's on a media firestorm. It wasn't just the Pat McAfee show. Guess what? Mind the Game is back. It's a podcast where he doesn't take bullshit shots at Brian Windhorst. Or maybe he does. I don't know. I haven't listened.
We don't know. We don't know.
He had the whole Stephen A thing on the Pat McAfee show. He had the shot at Brian Windhorst. He was in studio for McAfee because he was in Indiana and had the game winner. What a couple of days in Indianapolis. Oh my God. When I was in Indianapolis, I went and saw After Earth. I didn't have quite the day.
Seems like a similar experience.
I did not have a good time, LeBron.
I had a great time, man. I was live tweeting that thing. It was great. But LeBron has also relaunched Mind the Game, the podcast that interviewed JJ Redick for the Lakers coaching job. I mean, just had him and JJ Redick talking basketball, and
drinking wine and
drinking wine
and every once in a while,
dudes, yeah, drawing up plays,
X's and O's.
I love I think my favorite
is Doc Rivers that he's not the co-host of Mind the Game.
Oh my God. I mean, the laughs he would get from the producers off camera.
Oh my God.
Oh, he would love that.
Oh my God.
Real quick, I saw this clip yesterday. It just came, I think it was on my TikTok feed. And it's the one where JJ's like, all right, I'm 5 for 6. Where, we got a minute left. We need a bucket here. Draw me up an ATO. And so LeBron draws up this ATO and whatever. And JJ's like, oh yeah, Brad Stevens, victory. That's the play. And he goes, what? And he's like, yeah, Brad Stevens runs it. And he's like, yeah, I run that too. It's like, yeah, and I think the Warriors got Clay a game winner the other day, or earlier this season. And it's like LeBron almost wanted credit for this play. He had just come up with it. It's that's a very common ATO that he was running, but whatever. Mind the Game is back, but no, JJ Redick, coach of the Lakers, is not his co-host. It is former Nets head coach, 2-time MVP, Canada's favorite son, Steve Nash. Not a podcaster, not a professional podcaster, is relaunched it with LeBron James and included this part in the promotion.
Real quick. If he gets a head coaching job, because whatever, we didn't talk about this beforehand, guys.
Yeah, right.
You know what that seemed like? Bad acting by Steve.
Ass on.
Bad ass on indeed. Mo Dakhil, do you believe Mind the Game will get Steve Nash a second coaching job?
Yes. This is now the platform to be on to get a coaching job. This is very simple with all of that stuff. And it's going to be because he's going to talk all his he's already been a coach before, so it's not even as big of a lift as it was with JJ. Mm-hmm. But now we're going to talk about, the X's and O's, and some team is going to talk themselves into it to be able to say, hey, we got him. This is one of those situations. Okay, we liked his stuff. We liked what he did it's a job interview at this point. Or an audition for your next job, which is why when Doc Rivers is no longer with the Milwaukee Bucks and Steve Nash gets his job with the Milwaukee Bucks, Doc Rivers is going to be the next co-host of Mind the Game with LeBron James. Full circle, gentlemen. That's what he's going to get. Doc's going to get swept in the first round. The Bucks are going to let him go.
Wow.
Giannis is going to been a big fan of Mind the Game. Get me Steve Nash. This is a great job. You only have to do 4 or 5 episodes, and then you're going to be an NBA head coach.
Tops. Yeah, tops.
Right? And then you're right in that mix.
So LeBron's kind of the new Warren LeGarry.
Yeah.
And all these coaching jobs happening. Mm-hmm. Interesting. Mayes, do you believe that this is going to get Steve Nash another coaching job?
Well, there's a couple key differences between the situation with Steve Nash and with JJ Redick. Mm-hmm. First of all, JJ Redick was a podcaster, and it was really him approaching LeBron to get him to do Mind the Game. That was
he wanted to be the Lakers coach.
Yeah, he knew the creation of the podcast in the first place. And then shortly after, yes, LeBron, who had nothing to do with the selection of JJ Redick as the coach, and it should have been Dan Hurley, really, if he hadn't decided to go back to UConn, if we want to be clear about that.
Yeah, that was a real thing.
That 100%.
That wasn't a reporter getting a friend to undermine another report, a rival reporter's report about a coworker because he got scooped. That wasn't that.
What are you
Dan
talking about?
Hurley definitely considered this. Definitely.
He also considered Mind the Game and passed. But now it's LeBron, I guess, is the seasoned podcaster after doing however many episodes he did with JJ Redick before.
Yeah.
Now he's bringing in Steve Nash, who is not a seasoned podcaster, but now it's really two players doing it. But they still have this aesthetic where they're in Indiana Jones's warehouse for some reason, shooting all these episodes.
Wait, can you bring that clip back up? Can you bring? Hold on, I want to just look at.
No, you got to watch the whole clip because they really going for like a rustic warehouse aesthetic. Like, oh, we just so happened to carve out this corner to shoot this episode. And also, JJ is doing well as the Lakers coach, so it's not a stepping stone to the Lakers coaching job, at least not yet. So how much sway does LeBron have as co-host of a podcast to get a coach hired at a team that is not his? Is this signaling that when LeBron starts the Vegas franchise in about 2 years, that Steve Nash will be the front runner for that coaching position? Is that what we're supposed to take here?
Well, also, how about this? Let's connect some dots here, okay? Leading up or on draft night, there were 2 reported spots for Bronny James. Obviously, the Lakers and the Phoenix Suns. Why would that be, right? Close to LA, maybe some influence over the organization with Rich Paul. Guess who isn't doing a good job in Phoenix? Mike Budenholzer. Guess who is ready to just burn money left and right? Matt Ishbia. Maybe Steve Nash goes home, saves it, saves the franchise. 2-time MVP of the Phoenix Suns, gave them their best years. Connect the dots, you know? One problem, though, Steve Nash never wanted to coach.
Yeah, that's
they literally, the Nets were just like, here's $9 million. You won't do it for $9 million a year? And he's like, all right, man, I'll get fired. It'll be fine.
That's the one caveat to all of this, by the way. It's like, I haven't heard his name brought up in any coaching interviews. I haven't heard him try to get another coaching job.
He wouldn't was he a consultant for the Warriors after or was this before?
No, before. It was
right.
before.
Yeah.
Because that's how he built the relationship with KD, because KD was with him. But the other thing, too, is like, when Nash took the coaching job, I was like, why?
Yeah, we knew that was life. That was cooked, man. Yeah.
Life. I
don't got like $36 million out of it, right?
Yeah, I don't imagine him going, unless like all of a sudden the money's running low. Let me get another coaching job. But like, I don't see, a situation where like he's never looked happier. He's the most miserable I've ever seen him.
He looked very happy in that clip.
I've never seen him look more miserable than when he was on the sidelines, and I don't blame him.
Yeah.
But like,
he's not a quartership kind of guy. He's not a quartership guy.
And coaching's hard. He's not allowed to wear. I'm sure they still have rules. Like, it's not like he can rock out his capri pants or something like that, or anything like that. Yeah, exactly. Like, I just don't see him actually wanting to get back into coaching.
Do have to give him credit because he thought it would be Rondo as the co-host. He predicted that a month or two ago, and he wasn't that far off.
No, it's pretty close. What does Duncan Robinson think of all this? Because Duncan Robinson is obviously still an active player, but Duncan Robinson took over Old Man in the 3, right?
Well, Young Man in the 3, as it's now called, has a rotating panel of guest hosts.
Is it? Okay.
So it's essentially become a come on down.
If you're a white 3-point shooter, you get to like be.
Oh,
not
no,
even that.
Tyrese
Halliburton hosts the first one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
They've got a rotating cast, but none of them
whoever's friends
were
with
Steve
Tommy
Nash.
Alter, which is just about everybody.
Everybody. Everyone in the world. Do you know Tommy? Is Tommy in your phone? You can host Young Man in the 3.
Yeah.
But I do like the coordinated timing. so interesting that they decided to release it yesterday, and it's so interesting that he happened to be in Indiana and he happened to go on Pat McAfee.
Guys, these coincidences are incredible.
It's so weird, but there could not be any more polar opposites, right? Like the whole point of Mind the Game
McAfee
is to mind the game, is to be about the game. And then his appearance on McAfee was anything but the game.
Is AJ Hawk still a corpse just staring into a satellite camera on McAfee? Is that still happening? I haven't seen a McAfee clip in a long time because I'm not on Twitter anymore. Like
I'm doing the impression right now.
No, Maze, you have too much life behind your eyes right now.
Yeah, no, you have to be dead inside.
Yeah, there you go. That's it. All right, let's go to our third topic. Speaking of potentially dead before it starts. All right, guys. We've got Commissioner Adam Silver pitching to the NBA Board of Governors today his earliest sketches of a plan to start a new pro basketball league in Europe as early as 2026. We talked about this on the Illuminati episode covering Silver's press conference during the Paris Games back in January. We run leagues. There are no deals yet between the NBA and anyone, but they are working in partnership with FIBA. Silver is looking for permission from the NBA's 30 owners to move forward in making a new league happen, but no vote is expected quite yet. 8 to 10 franchises, $500 million plus franchise valuations, semi-open model that could include existing clubs like Real Madrid, Olympiacos, NBA to retain 50% equity in a structure that mirrors the WNBA before 2022. It seems like a lot of infrastructure would be needed to do this in a year. You would have to get like the Olympiacos and the Real Madrids of Europe to get into this, because otherwise, where are the arenas? I don't know what would happen there. But Mo, do you believe that the NBA will have a Euro League in place by 2030, 5 years from now?
I do believe that, only because Silver is pushing so hard for this and trying so hard, and everybody likes money, Zach, and that's an opportunity for more money. And I think that's going to be the game. And I think that's the focus. That's the aim for Silver. That's all he's really kind of looking to do in this situation. I have no idea how this is going to work. I'm still massively confused across the board with everything and how this plays out. But I do think he will find some sort of way to get his owners more of that cash off of this. And that's their opportunity there.
Maze, do you believe this is going to happen?
I do believe it'll happen. The timeline, I'm not 100% sure about. And I think it comes down to a lot of what you were saying. You were saying you were worried about stadiums and stuff like that. And I'm not super concerned about that. I think they're going to essentially try to co-opt existing infrastructure and label it, we are the NBA, giving it the seal of approval. That was what the whole Paris press conference was about. The "We Run Leagues" quote that I've been playing on repeat in my mind since then is, we're the NBA. We don't just run the NBA. We run the WNBA. We run the Africa League. We run leagues.
It's not quite that, but you could have gone a little bit into, I think we run the other leagues around the world. A little bit of Gerard Butler in there.
Definitely going to land for everyone. Everyone understands that reference. Listen to Cinephobe. But they want to expand the brand. They want to extend the reach of the NBA. This is not about money, Mo. Money is a byproduct of expanding the brand, okay? Because that's all they care about. And they don't want to go into Europe and steal all the best teams and replace existing EuroLeague infrastructure. No. They just want to start their own thing. That's it.
Look, all right. I started thinking about this as we were recording, and the one thing that makes me think this will happen by 2030 is there was an article on The Athletic a couple of days ago by Mike Borkanoff where James Dolan is just against the league right now. Like, he is just going after the league with everything. He wants to know the finances. He doesn't believe the league is spending money properly. And so he votes no on everything that the league has proposed in regards to the WNBA, everything, right? And the votes are all passing like 29-1. Like, it's just like he's going to vote no on this, and everyone else is going to vote yes. And that's why I think it's going to pass, is because he's going to vote no. And I don't think anyone's with him. But if they co-opt existing franchises in Europe, obviously that helps it significantly. It's such a weird thing though. Like, is FIBA willing to give that up? Give up that control? FIBA doesn't seem like the type to just do that. But here's the thing. Look, the NBA has money, Mo. Good motion on an audio podcast.
Better watch it on YouTube.
Yep.
Watch on YouTube so you can see a slight money gesture from Mo about 30 minutes into the podcast.
I didn't want to interrupt you.
Is the NBA willing to give that much money that it would take? Because if you're FIBA, you're like, oh, you want this? You got to overpay, right? We're good as is. That's where I think that it comes into an issue. Like, expanding into Europe, sure. You start getting into franchise valuations. You start paying, money to get into territories and everything. Yeah, that's one thing. To straight up just essentially buy a league or lease a league or whatever the hell that would end up being, I think that's actually more money than what the alternative is. And that's where I think, like, that's when it's, all right, how much do we actually want to invest here, and how much are we getting back in return?
The only thing I'd really warn the NBA is they should go take a look at how that Super League started and fell quickly in within FIFA, and how that kind of played out.
Yeah.
And I hope they understand, like, because I don't know, they're not trying to buy a league. They're trying to poach teams from the leagues.
Yeah.
Like, that's a little bit different. And
you
that's
just gonna have 10 teams? What is this? What is this? The 60s? Like,
but not even that. My question too is, like, okay, so at the end of their season, are they in the playoffs? Like, where?
Right.
Like, are we going to have a world championship?
Well,
and how are the players going to respond?
I believe it's just a separate thing.
Right.
Yeah.
But that's
Mo, here's the dream. Okay. The Euro League, let's say the top 2 teams from this NBA Europe League come over and compete in the in-season tournament. All right. Now we got some spice. We work them in that way. We slowly bring them in.
Top 2 teams from the African League. Top 2 teams from the WNBA.
Yeah. Now you got yourself a little international teams from the G League.
Mm-hmm. Summer League champions.
Yeah.
And somehow Doc Rivers will still blow a 3-1 lead.
But give him the credit
NBA
for the
Cup,
3 wins. But give him the credit for the 3 wins, okay? You got to get 3 wins before you can blow a 3-1 lead.
He'll get his credit here, all right?
And that's how you legitimize the NBA Cup even more, right? That's your world championship. Everyone says the NBA champions aren't the world champs. Well, now the NBA Cup
Here we go.
Yeah.
It does definitely have a little bit, I mean, we haven't even done it yet, but let's say it happens. It will have a little bit of the Marvel Cinematic Universe overextension aftertaste of maybe just focus on running the NBA well. Maybe do that instead of bragging about how you run all these leagues amazingly well.
Like maybe go ask like the NFL, like how does Europe do? Like, I know American football in Europe expansion is way different than basketball globally. I understand that. But it's just not easy to go like, all right, we're in that continent now. Like, that's just not going to, like, you're setting up an entire league. Like, we laugh at it, and for good reason. Like, there's that whole, like, Maverick Carter is going to, be part of this new professional league that's, and we're like, fuck off. That's not going to work. Right. And they're like, oh, it's just about having options and everything. And it's like, to set up a whole new league at this point, it just, like, the overtime elite, who takes that seriously unless you are a great young player like the Thompson twins? No one takes that seriously, even as like a feeder system anymore, right? Like, it's just not, even for youth sports, it's not a thing.
It's also like we're going so far to try to expand. Well, how about put a team back in Vancouver? Like, we're going so far, like, in all of this. Get a team back in Seattle. You want to go international?
Put a team at fucking Paris, New York. You know, at the fucking in Vegas, like that. Put the arena there. You do that if you want to.
And you're touching several places: Italy, France. You got the Middle East with Luxor. Like, you're touching a lot of places.
You got a lot, man. I'm sure it'll work out though. And Athletic, please send me to go cover it. That's gonna do it. Make sure you check it out. All of our work. Check out Mo's Twitch stream. Check out other episodes of Illuminati. Check out Cinephobe. Check out The Athletic and The Bounce. For Wozni Lambre, Proud American, who is not here, for fill-in Proud American Anthony Mayes, for Mo Dakhil, I'm Zach Harper. Keep your third eye open.